I heard one thing with Gervonta Davis broke 4 people noses in one day. I believe it was something like that. 4 sparring partner noses in one day. What if they was trash?
You know, he worked out down there, trained down there in Atlanta, man. Have you ever had a chance to spar with him?
I sparred him when I was 16 years old. He never came back to spar me again. Now you come up with your own theory on what happened.
So really interesting news came out. The man who Gervonta has been praising as of late, Brian Norman, the 24 years old WBO champion at welterweight who's fighting Devin Haney next. Well, Brian Norman Sr. came out stating that when his son sparred Gervonta, he beat up Gervonta and he made him quit in that particular order, which is shocking to hear after Tank has been praising Brian Norman nonstop. Here is exactly what Brian Norman Sr. had to say. Check it out.
That was listen. That was nobody that would tell you no different. He beat up. Check this out. Do yourself a favor. Go back and you can research. I'm gonna tell you how it happened the first time. He was 16 years old the first time. It was February 20. It was February the 1st. In fact, you can look at all of this. February the 1st, 2021. The second time, Tank made the excuse. This one he made them. This one he made. They did the doghouse rules, and the doghouse rule really just went to they both just really stopped. So when no quit that day, but that day Tank was bloody. He was bloody, real deal blood all over my son's shirt the first day. So now Monday they said Mustafa Jim. The way y'all asked me about it, said Mustafa Jim. Come Tuesday, he called Mustafa back. Yeah, man, he was up late. He was drinking. He was partying. He come making his excuses. Wednesday, he said, we want to spar tomorrow. Cool. So now it's really on, nigga. You coming back with your get back, whatever. He walks in. He says, I'm not leaving here till I break that nose. That's what he said to my son. We walk in the door. That's the day the nigga quit. Got out the ring, didn't say shit. Now, let me give y'all something you don't know. You can go look. He had a fight coming up. The nigga went to Twitter and said he had a hand injury. Then everybody went, oh, champ, what happened? Oh, man, ain't nothing wrong with my hand, man. He started showing x-rays where his hand was fine. That was his excuse for why he got out the ring and just quit and then say, this a quit or not. You're supposed to do X amount of rounds. The round is over with. The crowd is null. Everybody quiet. Now they're taking out the ring about that. What's going on? What you doing? He don't say nothing at all. He just get the fuck out the ring. It's quick. Yeah, then the next day, wait, you can look this up. Then the next day, he talking about he got a hand injury on Twitter. The first time he sparred Tank, this was when Tank had just fought Pedraza. Tank was 22. My son was 16 years old. We got into it back then. The motherfuckers come to the gym at 7 o'clock. This came in 4 hours late, carrying his little stripper bag. That's what I call it with, the little rolling, the little rolling bag, little luggage bag. Nigga coming there, looking around, stretching. She's like, you 4 hours late. No apologies, no nothing.
And then you said
They'll go off. He get to talk. That's what he do too. Just so y'all know, it really is. Y'all don't want to hit it, but it really is. I think he's better. He got better with the Frank. I saw better him with the Frank situation. But he really does talk himself into the fight. He really not as bad as y'all think he is. I'm so serious. He talks himself into it. That's why you see him talking all the time. That's why you see him hyping himself up all the time. That's what he does. So anyway, and that's what he did with my son. He get in the ring. He got them get to talk immediately. He get to talk to my boy. My boy's 16 years old. So, of course, I'm a grown-ass man. I always tell my boy, you don't talk to these grown-ass man. You let me handle it. So I'm like, hey, bro, what the fuck? And then that's me and Tank got into it immediately. So me and him going at it. We talking shit. He talking shit to me outside the ring. I'm like, bro, if you want to hurt me, hurt my son right there in front of you. Hurt him. They get down. My son got the best on that time then. Tank was missing for motherfucking all them years. He called Mustafa. Mustafa did not, this in 2021 now. Fast forward. He got the best son back then. Now, fast forward 2021, February the 1st, he called Mustafa. Mustafa called us. We was like, oh, this nigga got bold. Like, he's stupid. That's crazy. He called you 5 years later? What the lost his mind. That's what I'm thinking. But come to find out, he had a fight coming up. He just wanted some work. So he trusted Mustafa to get the best work. I guess he forgot about my boy. Mustafa called my boy. He didn't specifically call us, which we thought. I thought he specifically called for us, but he didn't. He just asked Mustafa. He's going to have a training day. All this shit is on YouTube. He's going to have a whole goddamn media workout, training, everything else. Man, that seen who he was sparring, he shut his whole camera crew down. Mind you, 16 years old, he just got the best of Tank. We go in the very next, this is when he's 16. We go in the very next day. Mind you, I told you we was there 11 o'clock at night. I'm telling Tank the whole time, man, my boy got to go to school. I'm talking all kind of shit. Fast forward, we come in the next day. He get out of the car, noticeably smiling and cheesing and ready to get in the gym to shoot his shit. Because, of course, the other people had already left. It wasn't but just a few people that still at 11 o'clock waiting on Tank to come. All the other kids and everybody else was already gone. So now he got his friends in there and everybody else. So he going there, to get his accolades. So we hit the door. I called him because I know where the heartbreak finna come. I say, listen, son, listen. He said, what? I said, they're not going to give you no credit for that. He said, what you mean? I just got the man. I said, B, they're not going to give you no credit for that. Trust me, dog. You watch. He going now. You know the first thing they said? You know he wasn't going for real on you, right? You know he was just taking it easy on you, right? Swear to God. That's the first thing they said. You know he was taking it easy on this. So look. So I had to chime in. So I said, okay, Tank, 22 years old. You mean y'all think that Tank was screaming at me to the top of his lungs? I said, you mean to tell me a 22-year-old kid had enough wits to himself to scream at the daddy outside the ring, but be taking it easy on the in front of him? That's what y'all think.
To make it very clear, the sparring footage you guys see above is not the footage of Gervonta versus Brian Norman sparring. The sparring you guys see above is Gervonta versus Johnson and other fighters, not Brian Norman. You guys heard Brian Norman Sr. reveal when his son sparred Gervonta the second time, Tank actually came in with his camera crew. However, he didn't know he was going to spar Brian Norman, since Gervonta instructed Coach Mustafa to arrange sparring for him against the best guy in the city, which was Brian Norman. However, Gervonta didn't know. Therefore, it was a surprise for him when he pulled up. When Gervonta pulled up with his camera crew, according to Brian Norman Sr., he said no recording. And that's when Brian Sr. questioned that by asking Tank, then why did you pull up with your camera crew? Did you change your mind because it was us and we sparred before? Where Brian Sr. also claimed that Gervonta got beat up and quit. Well, to make a long story short, you guys heard what Brian Norman Sr. said. According to him, when Tank sparred Brian Norman the second time, he also got beat up again. This time he ended up quitting by walking out of the ring and just going home without any explanation. Next day, Tank postponed the Lamont Roach fight because of a hand injury. And according to Brian Norman Sr., he only did that to save face because he quit against his son in front of all of his crew. Now remember, this is not what I said. This is what Brian Norman Sr. was saying. So don't hate the messenger, hate the message. However, if you ask me my opinion on all the above, we've seen fighters get the best of Gervonta before, so this is not a surprise. We've seen welterweights like Brian Norman get the best of Gervonta before, like Johnson, and we also seen a 16 years old, just like Brian Norman, get the best of Gervonta as well, and that was Devin Haney. In fact, that's actually on tape. You can YouTube that right now and watch the entire sparring. At that time, Devin Haney was like 16 and Gervonta was around 20. Just like Brian Norman, when he sparred Gervonta the first time, he was 16 and he was fighting at 139 pounds while Gervonta was fighting at 130 pounds. So, it's impressive. Anytime a youngin who's way younger than Gervonta, like Devin Haney and Brian Norman, get the best of them to the point where Gervonta had to wave the white flag, Duh, that's impressive. But again, what matters and what counts is what happens in the ring. I mean, this makes the Brian Norman versus Devin Haney fight even more intriguing due to the fact that both Brian Norman and Devin Haney, when they were 16 years old, got the best of Gervonta, and according to their fathers, they made Gervonta quit. I mean, there is no question about it when it comes to Devin versus Gervonta. The second time they sparred, it's on tape. Without a question, Gervonta did quit. He waved the white flag. That's not up for debate. And I wouldn't even question the Brian Norman sparring, because at that time, I do remember the Tank versus Lamar Roach fight was supposed to take place in November. However, the fight got postponed all the way to March, 5 months later. At that time, a lot of people were assuming the reason why the fight got postponed that long was because Gervonta wanted more money from PBC to fight Lamar Roach. But according to Brian Sr., he's claiming otherwise. He's stating that it was because Gervonta sparred his son, and his son beat up Gervonta so bad, he had to postpone the Lamar Roach fight for 5 months by claiming that Tank stated he had injured his hand. With that being said, that's Brian Norman Sr.'s side of the story. We haven't heard Gervonta's side of the story, but the way Gervonta has been praising Brian Norman on social media, while at the same time Brian Sr. is shitting on Gervonta, you can't help but think Brian Sr. is telling the truth. I mean, if somebody talking shit to me, I ain't finna praise him back. With that being said, go ahead and drop your thoughts in the comment section below. Both Devin Haney and Brian Norman got the best of Gervonta, and they are fighting in November on a huge pay-per-view card that Turkey is putting together that have Abdullah Mason on the card, Benavidez on the card, and even Bam Bam Rodriguez on the card. As crazy as that sounds, subscribe below. And to be continued on the next episode of Akhi, Akhi TV. Peace out. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Tank comes in with a whole fucking camera crew. Whole camera crew came up with the motherfucking black trucks with the goddamn the Escalades and shit come with the whole camera crew. When they come in or whatever, we got our shit rolling. So now when he realized he's one of my sons, so now the shit changed a little bit, right? They start saying no cameras, no recording. So we like, damn, bro, all this shit was live on Facebook. I went live on Facebook back then to show because I knew what was going on. So he like, yeah, no camera, no recording, or whatever. So we like, damn, bro, what you mean no camera, no recording? You goddamn brought a whole motherfucking camera crew in. So now he got it with me like, damn, bro, what's up with you and this and that? So now me and Tank get into it right then again. So anyway, fast forward, we had to cut our cameras off. We made them cut their cameras off, whatever the case may be. My son commenced to whoop his ass. They did that. They turned the bell off and did that doghouse rule. He commenced to whoop that. I'm talking about blood, the whole nine. Now I will say the first day, Tank was the most explosive. Tank came out with some super shit. But what it was is Tank fights in spurts. Now I tell anybody this, he fights in spurts. My son really, he literally just, he whooped his ass the whole time. But then what Tank would do was like he'll suck it up and then he'll come out, pop, pop, pop. I mean, the shit was amazing. You know what I'm saying? I give him that. Like he's special. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I give probably do whatever. He didn't hurt my son not one time, whatever, but he was bloody. His whole goddamn shirt was bloody the whole nine. That shit, it came to a low. They just came to a little hug and stopped. Nobody stopped or whatever. That was over with. So now they come back, you know, the little Instagram shit started, all the beats started. Come here, B, and you can look this up. B, come here for a minute. You can look this up. You can look this up on YouTube if you don't believe me.
Take on my nose,
His nose. You see his nose? You see that on his nose?
Yeah.
How do I know my daddy? He always go back. This motherfucker that Photoshop that made that shit right there, that bridge on his nose, made it bigger. My son did interviews after the sparring session and everything else. You can go look this up. He posted the understanding. They like, we trying to get clout off this shit, but we wasn't. The shit, Tank had posted that he's sparring this day and this and that, put the address and all that shit. So it was a whole bunch of people there. You understand what I'm saying? Like, we didn't do that shit. You feel what I'm saying? So everybody was at us, you know, at my son for the interviews and shit. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened. Now, after that first day, so now, you know, the excuses come, oh man, it was Monday. Oh man, he was partying last night. He was sleep. We all that old bullshit, right? We coming back Wednesday, and he said we coming back Wednesday. Shit, they gonna be there Wednesday, right? We tell everybody else again. Everybody coming them up again. They coming there Wednesday, of course, no videos, no everything else again. We get in there. My son commits to whoop his ass until he gets out the ring. I'm gonna give you everything to look for to prove what I'm telling you about the timeline. They start February the 1st. They skip February the 2nd, and they start February the 3rd. You look at Tank tweets about his hand. He extended his fight. He canceled his fight and put their X-ray and shit like that because he got out the ring with no excuse. He quit against my son. He quit. He literally stopped. No, everybody didn't know what was going on. He just stopped, took his head off. Everybody was looking like, damn, bro, what the fuck going on? Then you hear the story the next day. He hurt his hand and he broke his hand and sparring. No, he just wanted an excuse for all of those people that saw him quit and saw him getting his ass. I mean, because he had said the second day, he had said, I'm not leaving until I break that nose. He used to tell my son, no, I'm not leaving until I break his nose. So then after all that shit came out, that's when he posted that about the Photoshop. Again, all this can be looked up. You look up the dates. February the 1st last year, February the 3rd last year is when they sparred. February the 3rd or 4th is when he put that tweet out about his fucking hand being fucked up for sparring my son or whatever the case may be. Then he came back and like, hey man, y'all tripping, ain't nothing wrong with my hand. My son made him postpone his fight. You get what I'm saying? Bottom line, but that's where the whole shit started. The whole shit started because my son was 16 years old and he was on some bullshit. That was like, that's how the whole thing went down, bro.